To me, you're muted. Are you okay? So you're now live streaming. Okay, sorry.
Philemon Yan, the President of the 79th session of the General Assembly.
Thank you very much. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to celebrate the International Day of Education, and I thank the Group of Friends for Education and Lifelong Learning for the invitation to join you today. Today we reflect on the dynamic interplay between education and artificial intelligence. Today we also affirm that access to inclusive and equitable quality education, a pledge embodied in the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, is a human right for everyone, everywhere. Across the globe, we see that access to digital technologies is enhancing the transformative power of education. From Bhutan, where every school is now connected to the internet, to Uzbekistan, where the 1 Million Programs Project is encouraging teachers to complete digital training, or to Trinidad and Tobago, where online content is preparing students for the job market, and across Africa, where 13 countries are establishing university innovation Pakistan, where the 1 Million Programs Initiative is encouraging teachers to complete digital training. We must continue to Trinidad and Tobago, where online content is preparing students for the job market, systemic barriers that, and across Africa, where 13 countries are establishing university.
All right, Doc, you can cue that video for later on. We'll try it back another time. All right, cue it for later, and we'll try it another time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, pleasant good morning, good afternoon, good day, good evening, whatever time of the day it is, based on where you're located, I greet you. Distinguished guests, esteemed educators, thought leaders, and advocates for global learning. My name is His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Devon Bannister. I am the Pro-Chancellor for Psyche International University and Seminary, as well as I am the CEO and founder for Magban Arts and Magban Cooperation. Distinguished guests, esteemed educators and advocates for global learning and fellow educators, it is indeed a great honor to welcome you to this remarkable occasion today, where we gather to celebrate the transformative power of education on this United Nations Day, of Education 2025, and to uphold the enduring legacies of two visionaries, the JUNI and Irene Menakaya, whose dedication to knowledge continues to inspire generations. Education is more than a fundamental right. It is the bedrock of progress, a force that empowers individuals, uplifts communities, and drives sustainable development. In a rapidly evolving world, ensuring equitable access to quality education is not just an aspiration. It is a necessity. Today, we stand together to reaffirm our commitment to breaking barriers, fostering innovations, and championing lifelong learning for all. As we engage in thought-provoking discussions, insightful lectures, and inspiring stories, let us remember that the future of education is in our hands. May this gathering ignite new ideas, forge meaningful collaborations, and strengthen our resolve to build an inclusive and knowledge-driven world today. On behalf of Magban Arts, Inc., Psyche International University and Seminary, Bulmai, who is Word of Life Ministries International, the JUNI, and the Irene Menakaya Foundations. Today, I extend my deepest gratitude to all of you, our distinguished speakers, partners, and attendees joining us on this important journey today. So let us celebrate, learn, and work together to shape a brighter future through the power of education. I welcome you all to this wonderful conversation here. So let us begin. I want to open with a thought-provoking quote that I learned throughout my years growing up, that I put at the forefront of everything that I do when it comes to life, business, work, anything. This is one of the things that I run with. And even in church, I learned it in church as well. I pay close attention to it because at the end of the day, I'll bring it back to our remembrance. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. I leave you there with that to ponder on that. Think about that as we proceed here today. I want to take this time to welcome our two rapporteurs, Edik Esther and Dr. Ada. I would like to ask you if you can please help me with some of these names because I don't want to butcher the people's name. So I beg apology. Dr. Osita, you can also join in and assist me if Dr. Ada is unavailable. Can you? Thank you very much. The Sub-Saharan Open University. Would they like to bring us any greetings before we move into? Okay. All right. So Dr. Ada is the message, Professor is the message from the 2025 UN Day of Education ready? Are you ready now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So ladies and gentlemen, let us just hear a 7 minutes briefing of the previous meeting that was here. Can you cue it up, Dr. Ada? So I will hand it over to you in a few once I see it come up on the screen.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have the president of JUNI Foundation International, who is Professor Dr. Ada Okika, and she's also one of the UN representative, Global Director, Center for Transformative Advancement of Development of Africa. So, Dr. Ada, kindly please go ahead and cue the video.
Some messages from 2025 United Nations Day of Education, which was organized by UNESCO and the UN Group of Friends of Education and Lifelong Learning. The International Day of Education 2025 delved into the transformative role of artificial intelligence in reshaping education and learning. Under the theme of International Day of Education 2025, Preserving Human Agency in a World of Automation, UNESCO is organized a global event in New York to spotlight the dynamic interplay between AI and education. How are AI technology revolutionizing teaching and learning practices, while education in turn serves as a guiding force to ensure that AI is ethical, inclusive, and aligned with human values? The day focused particularly on encourage reimagining education in an age of AI and welcome new and improved possibilities for teaching, learning, school environments, curriculum, educational observation, and assessments. It also focused on promoting critical AI literacies by discussing how educators and learners can be empowered with the competencies needed to understand, assess, and influence AI technologies in line with the guidance contained in the UNESCO AI competencies framework for teachers and students. The day also delved into advocate for a human-centered approach to AI integration in education. That is an approach that prioritizes human control, transparency, and accountability in AI design and deployment, while ensuring it serves to expand human capabilities, uphold human dignity and agencies, promote justice and sustainability throughout its entire life cycle. Finally, it ensures that AI complements rather than replaces the essential human elements of learning, including the cultivation of in-person relationship and emotional intelligence. The UN Secretary General message on the International Day of Education, it says that education is a basic human right and an essential building block for every person to reach their potentials, for societies and economies to grow and flourish. Today's rapid technological breakthroughs like artificial intelligence hold enormous practice to support students of all ages across their learning journeys. He also noted that the tremendous rewards are matched by some daunting risk. As AI-driven systems become more powerful, human intention and machine-driven impacts can easily misalign itself. Then he talked of that this year's International Day of Education reminds us that unlocking the potentials of artificial intelligence also depends on keeping human agencies and human rights at the heart of its rapidly evolving technology. He noted that we must ensure that artificial intelligence supports students and teachers through access to information and cutting-edge curriculum and other learning tools. He noted that as we work to guarantee that all users have the tools and knowledge required to use the technology smartly, safely, and ethically, including through UNESCO's competency frameworks to support learners and teachers as they incorporate artificial intelligence into their learning. He noted about the recently adopted Global Digital Compact includes further critical steps to help ensure that humanity retains control over the development and governance of AI rather than the other way around. He affirmed that artificial intelligence must never replace the essential human elements of learning, and noted that on this important day of 2025 International Day of Education, that we need to commit to keeping humanity at the center of education system everywhere. Secretary General highlighted the dual nature of technological advances such as artificial intelligence, which offer immense potential, but also pose considerable risk, and affirmed that education is an essential building block for every person to reach their full potentials and for societies and economies to grow and flourish. The President of General Assembly, His Excellency Dennis Francis, the General 78th Session, has this to say: we must therefore use this day to reaffirm our unwavering determination to confront all obstacles head on to the full employment of this day, of this right by all. And in that regard, the unrestricted freedom of girls the world over to receive an education remains a paramount concern. A key diagnostic is the perennial underinvestment in education in relation to what is required to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal 4 and its targets. But we know, given the role and indeed the impact of education, that investment in education is an investment in peace, in human rights, in sustainable development, and in humanity's collective progress and prosperity. He called, therefore, urgent need, better resourced education system in all our countries to support and drive the desired transformation towards systems that promote equity, inclusivity, diversity, tolerance, and equality. Systems that lay a firm foundation for conflict prevention and sustainable peace. He also noted that and fully integrated system that embrace the marginalized and less privileged, including those in remote rural locations, ensuring their total inclusion within their communities. Achieving SDG 4 requires, he said, that we prioritize the creation of accessible education system that leave no one behind. Message from the UNESCO Director General. Artificial intelligence offers major opportunities for education, provided its deployment in schools is guided by clear principles of fairness and ethics. Education about the uses of artificial intelligence is needed to promote people handle it safely and responsibly, aware of technology's limits. We urgently need to help teachers and students make the best possible use of this technology. He noted that massive investment without the sacrifice of anything essential needs to be made in teaching students and teachers how to use artificial intelligence appropriately. On this International Day of Education, UNESCO invited the international community to walk through education towards an enduring symbiosis between human and technology action. And this day reminds us that the lasting peace begins with education. As Malala once said, one child, one teacher, one book, one pen can change the world. Message from the Word of Life Ministries International Consulting Cabinet Chief, His Excellency the Right Honorable Dr. Philip Finn. We are here to solve problems. At WOMAI, we have moved to establish a program needed to bridge all gaps in leaving no one behind. We use opportunities within the United Nations to do something on SDG 4 to quality affordable education. We need to light our candles and dispel the darkness. The future is bright. We need to pay good attention to problem solving. Remembering the legacy of Barrister JUNI and Irene Menakaya of blessed memory, education is the strength of any family and foundation for any valued society. Attention must be given to children in our community and encourage them to be like their fellow children overseas. We must not fail to understand that all our society needs for a better future is my child is my pride. I thank you.
Throughout those presentations there, one word keep coming back to mind, and that word is access. Access. As we go through this day, we're going to discover that access is something that is greatly needed when it comes to SDG 4. So let us hear how much more and how we can gain some of those access as we proceed throughout this time of discussion. Now we're going to have a call to the 2025 United Nations Day of Education. We're going to have the team which focuses on AI and education, human agency in an automated world. This segment here, we will have His Highness Prince Dr. Osita, who will be presenting for us. And we will have the opening statement, which is the overview of artificial intelligence and education, challenges and opportunities for education in Nigerian communities by Dr. Maruf. His Highness Prince Dr. Osita, over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Dr. Bannister. I am very happy to be here. My name is Osita Anyemeka. Your Excellencies, Your Royal Majesties, Your Highnesses, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am happy that AI has come to play, because before now it was a scare. But let's look at why AI has become important to this year's International Day of Education. First, there is a personalized learning. Every student is unique with their own set of talents and weaknesses. However, it can be complicated to address each candidate's needs as a teacher who handles a classroom of more than 50 children, in some cases in Nigeria, 60. So thanks to the AI boom, personalized learning is now possible. We have taken steps, Nigeria is taking steps to find a way to make sure that students are empowered so that they become flexible and education becomes student-centric. AI tools will leverage and to analyze students' learning patterns, preferences, their strengths, and tailor these to their educational experiences to achieve these goals. By doing so, students will get customized learning content and support. This individualized approach helps students to learn at their own pace, leading to better retention and understanding of the material. 2, interactive learning experiences. AI technologies enables interactive learning experiences such as virtual classroom and simulations. Recently, the AI for Education app was introduced by Physics Wala using advanced tools like ChatGPT. This platform aims to provide personalized learning virtually, making education accessible to students from remote areas of the world. This platform supports AI gurus to real-time doubt-solving, customized learning content. And there is a lot more than that because it is an innovative solution where students can engage with immersive content, participate in virtual experiments, and even receive instant feedback on their performances. This hands-on approach makes learning more engaging and effective for students of all ages. 3, AI robots are virtual assistants. AI-powered virtual mentors and assistants provide students with round-the-clock support and guidance. In some high schools now in Abuja, the experiment is that they are collaborating with teachers all over the world to deploy AI and AI teacher robots to teach students in their environment. Now, we see that some of these tools can understand several languages. The ones being used here in Abuja understands 3 languages, 3 local languages, and the English language, and is controlled by the central Android application featuring an AI voice assistant powered by Intel chipsets. This AI robot can teach children from preschool to grade 12. In short, these virtual robots can answer questions, provide study tips, and offer personalized recommendations based on individual learning needs. By leveraging AI technologies, students can access on-demand assistance and resources to enhance their learning experience. 4, automated grading and assessment. The latest report from World Economic Forum shows that using AI can automate repetitive tasks, potentially reducing time spent on administrative duties by 20%. This progress will allow teachers to spend more time teaching, grading, and mentoring. With the help of AI, even the grading and assessment process can be automated, saving teachers valuable time and resources. Teachers in the US, where we are looking up to, and use platforms like ChatGPT, Grammarly, and Writable to evaluate assessments. However, there are ethical concerns using these AI tools for grading, as it may not be well received by students paying very high tuition. So for our local areas, we are advocating that AI tools will be customized based on the learning needs of the students in the grassroots, so that educational institutions should aim to integrate AI to enhance teaching processes and not to replace human feedback. 5, AI content creation. Education at all levels pour their heart and soul into creating top-notch educational materials for students, from dynamic PowerPoint presentations to thought-provoking assignments. But with the rise of AI-powered platforms, the game has changed. AI has now been able to empower students and even learners to be able to get concise and succinct content that will lead them to their next level of education. With this, we are hoping that Nigeria, the rural environment, the grassroots, will be highly empowered to learn more and begin to prepare for competitiveness all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, His Highness Dr. Osita. And now we will move to the next speaker, who will give us the opening remarks as well. Dr. Maruf.
I will see your chat.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that, Dr. Ad. All right. At this time, we will move on to our keynote presentation sections. These sections will run for 30 minutes. And here in this section, we're going to be focusing on, again, the overview of artificial intelligence and education, the challenges and opportunities for education in Africa. We're going to focus on artificial intelligence in education, challenges, opportunities for teaching and learning in African communities. Our two speakers here would be Dr. Adeola, Dr. Adeola, who is the Deputy Director, Computer Resource Center, FTU, as well as Mr. Kofi Konadu, founder of the Progressive Sage Ghana. Dr. Adeola, please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning there, or evening, as the case may be.
Dr. Adeola, can you please turn the camera on, please? The camera's not on.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, good morning, evening, as the case may be over there. Yes, we are in the evening here in Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, educators, and students who may have joined us on the platform. I'll be speaking today on the artificial intelligence and education challenges and opportunities for educators in education in Africa. We'll be exploring the exciting intersection of artificial intelligence, AI, and education in Africa. I'll be discussing the transformation potential of artificial intelligence in shaping the future of education in Africa, a future that is ripe with opportunity, innovation, and profound change. We will x-ray how AI is transforming the education landscape in Africa. It is the potential for the future and unique opportunities and challenges that Africa faces as it embraces this technology. Africa, a continent of immense diversity, rich history, and youthful energy, stand on the brink of an educational revolution. The convergence of AI and education presents us with an unprecedented opportunity to address long-standing challenges, bridge gaps, and unlock new possibilities for millions of learners across the continent. Let me begin by acknowledging the barriers that we face. We know that access to quality education remains a pressing issue in many parts of Africa. From inadequate infrastructure to a shortage of qualified teachers, these challenges often leave young people at a disadvantage. That notwithstanding, Africa, particularly in rural communities, will benefit from the advent of AI in education. It is pertinent at this point to have a glimpse from the potential of Africa. Africa being the world's second largest and second most populous continent after Asia, has about 30.3 million kilometers square, which is about 11.7 million square miles, including adjacent islands. The landmass covers 20% of earthland area and 6% of the total surface area, that is, of the whole world. According to the statistics available, in 2021, the population is about 1.4 billion people, which account for 18% of the world human population. Africa has the youngest population among all continents, with a median age of 19.7 in the year 2012. And the median age for the world was 30.4 in the same year. Now, in addition, based on the projection, Africa population will reach 3.8 billion people by the year 2029. However, despite Africa having some good statistics with regard to population, landmass, resources, and workforce, it is the least wealthy inhabited continent per capita and second least wealthy by total wealth after Oceania. The continent is least wealthy for the following reasons: geography, climate, corruption, colonialism, the Cold War, and neocolonialism. Notwithstanding this low concentration of wealth, recent economic expansion and a large and young population present Africa as an important economic market in the broader global context. Africa has a large number of natural resources and food resources, including diamonds, sugar, salt, gold, cobalt, uranium, etc. Now, for our audience over there, who is not really familiar with artificial intelligence, I have this to say. Artificial intelligence refers to the simulation of human intelligence processed by machines, especially computer systems. It involves learning, reasoning, problem solving, perception, and language understanding. Artificial intelligence encompasses the study and design of intelligence in an artificial device. Although there is no conception on the general that intelligence involves mental abilities such as logic, reasoning, problem solving, and planning. In a similar vein, the intelligence aspect of AI denotes the ability to acquire, understand, and apply knowledge to achieve goals in the world. Has the following attributes. We have the ability to learn from experience, recognize problem, solve problem. Now, we have different types of intelligence. We have bodily kinesthetic intelligence, which is the ability to control body movement and handle objects skillfully. We have interpersonal intelligence with capacity to detect and respond appropriately to mood, motivation, desire of others. Interpersonal intelligence involves capacity to be self-aware and in tune with the inner feeling, values, beliefs, and thinking process. Logical mathematical intelligence involves the ability to think conceptually and abstractly, as well as design logical and numerical patterns. We have musical intelligence, which is the ability to produce and appreciate rhythm, pitch, and timbre. Naturalistic intelligence involves the ability to recognize and categorize animal, plants, other objects in nature. Verbal linguistic intelligence involves a well-developed verbal skill and sensitivity to the sound, meaning, and reading of words. Visual spatial intelligence involves the capability to think in image and visual accuracy and also. Now, let's go to the importance of education, AI in education. The importance involves personal learning. Dr. Ada, Prince Dr. Sita, and Dr. Maureen, they have all spoken about this importance of AI in education, which involves personalized learning. Now, the person, I will just for brevity's sake, I'll just say is the tailoring of content and pace to individual needs. Now, the importance involves the efficient resource management, which is optimizing administrative tasks and teachers' workload. Global accessibility, breaking down barriers to education, especially in remote areas. We have enhanced teaching methods. Now, making teaching more interesting to students and enhancing their student experience. We have data-driven decision-making, which it allows us to collect evidence of learning, analyze such evidence, and interpret the evidence to make informed decisions. Empowerment, so to equipping youth with skill for the future job market. Economic growth, AI is a driver for innovation and economic development. Local solution, AI for addressing unique Africa challenges. That is, we can use AI in our health, we can use it in our agriculture, we can use it even in legal jurisprudence. Now, AI role in global education. I will want to categorize this into a global trend in AI education and notable AI education tools. Under the global trend in AI education, we have from smart classroom to AI-powered learning system. AI is revolutionizing the way students learn and educators teach worldwide. Global tech giants such as Google, Microsoft, IBM, Meta, and some companies, even as far as in China, are investing heavily in AI-powered education tools. Notable AI education tool For example, for the personalized learning platform, we have Lumio, CBT Nuggets, Code Academy, Khan Academy, Coursera, Duolingo, etc. For virtual tutor and chatbot, we have tools like Scroll Learning, Canic Learning, etc. Now, let us now go to AI in Africa education, the current landscape. Under the state of education in Africa, there is a rapidly growing use of AI in Africa, but it is still in the early stages compared to global standard. Establishment of key institutions such as university that is focusing only on AI and data science is coming up in Africa, but the degree of appearance is still low. We have growing curricula, but there is a need for standardized program in Africa on AI. Africa faces significant challenges because of a high population growth, limited access to quality education, overcrowded classroom, and a shortage of qualified teachers. Despite these challenges, Africa is one of the fastest growing markets for tech adoption, including AI. The need for AI in Africa. Because Africa has a high dropout rate and inadequate resources that can use to address this. And the AI will be handy in this case, because the AI has the ability to offer scalable and personalized learning experience. AI can facilitate remote learning in rural areas, overcoming infrastructure. I will briefly want to mention what is going on in the northern Nigeria. We have terrorists. We have a lot of youths that are being useless in the bush there. If we have AI, we can use personalized learning to bring these people, to give them education, and it will solve part of our security problem. AI power educational initiative in Africa. AI for personalized learning. We have platforms like Bungo, which deliver localized education content to Africa's children. It uses AI to tailor lessons to the learner's needs. Then we have AI tools in teacher training. AI tools are being developed to help train teachers by providing feedback and professional development resources through platforms like TeacherTab. We have smart classroom and virtual learning too. In countries like Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa, AI-powered online educational platforms such as Moringa School and Dela are being used to train technology talent, preparing students for the global digital economy, talent development. Nurturing local talent through internship and mentoring program will be invaluable help to develop Africa in education. Mass education in AI. Nigerian government, under the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation, in partnership with Commonwealth and being supported by Google, has created AI Academy to train about 3 million Nigerian youth to be future leader in this AI race. Opportunity for AI in Africa education. AI has the potential to transform Africa education in a way that one thought impossible before. For example, in the area of personal learning at scale we have talked about, because of our time, I will not go deeply into this. Because AI is able to break geographical barrier. Education in Africa is often hampered by geographical constraints. Rural communities in particular face enormous challenges in accessing quality teachers and educational resources. AI-powered technology such as virtual classroom, e-learning platform, and interactive content can bridge this gap. With AI, a student in a remote village in Nigeria can access the same world-class content and instruction as a student in the heart of New York, Abuja, or wherever in the world. AI can democratize education, making it truly accessible to every corner of the continent, enhancing teachers' capacities and support. Teachers are the backbone of any education system. and AI can provide available support in this regard, from AI-based teaching assistants who help with administrative tasks to AI-powered tools that offer professional development and training. We can empower educators to do what they do best, teach. AI can also help identify the area where teachers may need additional support, allowing for targeted intervention and continued growth. These additional support are often not easily obtainable in Africa, especially in our rural communities. Access to education. AI can make high-quality education accessible to remote and underserved communities by providing affordable digital learning tools. Language and cultural relevance. One of the remarkable aspects of Africa is the linguistic and cultural diversity. Over 2,000 languages are spoken across the continent, and cultural content differ widely from region to region. AI can play a key role in preserving and promoting African languages and culture within the educational ecosystem through natural language processing and machine learning algorithm. AI can help create educational content in local languages, making learning more accessible and culturally relevant to students. AI can also help adapt teaching methodology to local custom, values, and tradition, ensuring that the education remains grounded in the life experiences of students. Preparing the future of work. As we look to the future, we know that the world of work is changing rapidly. Automation, robotics, and AI are already reshaping industries. African education system must prepare students not just for today, but for the demands of tomorrow. By integrating AI into curriculum, we can equip students with the skill they need to thrive in increasingly technology-driven world. This includes not only the technical skills such as coding, data science, and AI literacy.
All right, I think he accidentally got disconnected, but either way, he was about to approach his marker. Dr. Adiola?
Sorry, the network.
All right, could you just take one?
The network is somehow bad here. Can you hear me?
Yes, could you just take 1 minute and wrap up? Because
hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you take 1 minute and wrap up?
Hello?
We can hear you, sir. You can take 1 minute to wrap
Okay.
up.
Okay, let me just... Okay. Summary, the integration of artificial intelligence in Africa to cater for education needs present promising prospects and substantial challenges. While some African countries are making steady progress in preparing for AI adoption, others are facing significant such as structural inadequacy, inequalities, and digital divide. This disparity necessitates the need for an inclusive and holistic approach to ensuring that all African countries can benefit from AI while closing the gap with other regions of the world. To overcome this enormous challenge and fully exploit AI's potential in Africa, certain steps need to be taken. Efforts must be geared toward increasing investment in digital infrastructure, research and development, and training. Also, tailor government policy and strategic partnership between public sector, private sector, and civil society are necessary. This will create a
All right. I think we'll have to move on from here, Dr. Ada, seeing that his network has been giving him challenges. But nevertheless, I can't say that was a mouthful. You have identified areas where the challenges, you've identified what the benefits are for us, and he's also even given us some very good statistics in regards to how we can utilize and some of the good and some of the bad when it comes to the AI. But thank you very much, Dr. Adeola, for that. Now we're going to have Kofi Konadu, the founder of the Progressive Sage channel.
Yep. Okay, great. Thanks so much, Dr. Devon. I am Kofi Ejabin-Kredu. Ladies and gentlemen, just a brief background of the Progressive Sage. So we are a not-for-profit organization that is on a quest to help people aged 35 and older within the space of technology. I'm really excited to be here today to share with you my paper on artificial intelligence and education, the challenges and then opportunities for teaching and learning in African communities. So basically what we are about to dive into is what transpires within the classroom between teachers and students with the help of AI. That's what we are going to be doing basically. I believe everyone can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Great, thanks. Yes, so just a brief overview. Artificial intelligence, as Dr. Adiola indicated, is basically set of computer rules that allow the computer to perform tasks that would have normally required human intervention. And when we bring it to the classroom, it's basically the ability to actually utilize these intelligent systems to enhance teaching and learning. So we can actually think of personalized learning as an example, automated grading, virtual tutors, data-driven insights, and so on and so forth. So in actual terms, it is our ability to utilize these technologies in the classroom. Now, artificial intelligence is doing great in multiple sectors all across the globe. In agriculture, it's doing enormously great. In finance, it's there. In health, it's doing amazing. And education is an exception. In African communities, AI actually presents a unique opportunity that helps or is going to help bridge educational gaps by providing access to quality learning resources, personalized instructions, and innovative teaching methods. So it is doing amazing and well. Now, why Africa? I mean, the reason why why the wake-up call actually is what I've indicated here is three solid reasons. One, Africa has a young population. Africa has a young population, and this growing population has great potential. So it's like catching them young. Once we are able to imbibe artificial intelligence into the young ones, it is going to go a very long way to impact their continent positively. Another reason is also the importance of education towards nation building as far as the economy is concerned, and then the social standards of every country or nation is concerned. Now, when we are able to actually educate ourselves and acquire the knowledge that is required to be good people and know how to navigate our ways through artificial intelligence, that is going to have a positive impact on our economic standards and our social development. Also, it is going to help us check the systemic challenges that we face. There are certain problems in the African setting that have grown to be very systemic. Now, with the use of AI, we will be able to check some of these things. So this is why it is very important for us as Africans to wake up and utilize artificial intelligence for our good. Now, let's talk about opportunities that teachers or educators actually stand to get when they make use of artificial intelligence. We can talk about, number one, the automating administrative tasks. With the help of artificial intelligence, we can automate most administrative tasks. You can think of ChatGPT being able to write reports and analyzing students' reports and giving you feedbacks within the shortest possible time. Now, these are things that when human beings would perform, it would take quite an appreciable amount of time. But with the help of AI, some of these things can be automated. An interesting part of AI is the machine learning bit, which actually can learn from the patterns and activities that you engage with the platform and can make predictions and suggestions to help you curb situations and so on and so forth. So we can look at the automated or the automated administrative tasks, positive side of artificial intelligence for teachers. We can also look at the enhancing of lessons. The lesson delivery process or methodology actually gets enhanced here. AI-driven content creation suggests materials based on curriculum or what is supposed to be taught. So with the help of that, it makes suggestions and then it's quite easy to follow when teaching. With the use of virtual teaching assistants like ChatGPT, student can actually assess it and get answers to questions when they are out of the classroom, which is also a good side of the enhancing of lessons. With technologies like augmented reality, virtual reality, we can actually connect wherever we are in the world without having to be there in person, which is also a great side for teachers because it's going to make the learning and the teaching process smooth. We can also talk about the data-driven decision making, such that we will be able to actually feed AI systems with the right data, and then it analyzes this data and gives us feedbacks. It gives us suggestions. It helps us make the right or good decisions within the shortest possible time. Another good thing for teachers is the real-time feedback. Now, when we take an AI platform like ChatGPT, within or under a minute, it can prepare a report on global warming just under minutes. So it's like that real lifetime feedback is actually a great side of artificial intelligence, and teachers can actually capitalize on some of these to help them make certain decisions that can help the teaching process in the classroom. Now, on the side of students, AI or artificial intelligence helps with personalized learning, just like what Dr. Adiola highlighted. AI tutors adjust lessons based on students' pace and understanding. So once the teacher actually is able to understand the use of artificial intelligence, and the students are also able to understand the use of artificial intelligence, that machine learning bit of it can actually study you as an individual and then help with recommendations as to the pace you are to follow, and it will also be able to get to your understanding level to help you in your studies, right? So that's a great part of artificial intelligence on the part of students. Also, AI-powered language translation helps students learn in their native languages. It's such that certain courses can be taught in the native languages of students. So in remote communities where students will struggle to express themselves in English, they can actually access content in Yoruba or in Swahili or in Fanti or Chi. And this is actually a good thing to help them actually understand subjects and courses pertaining to them in their native languages or tongue. We can also look at the increased engagement and interaction. Some of these AI platforms do come in the form of games. So it's one way or the other strokes the curiosity of the students. They would like to learn more, they would like to do more. So students get interactive, they engage with these platforms more and more. The speech recognition tools or the speech recognition base of AI actually helps students with disabilities to communicate very well, because all they have to do would be to listen and to speak back. So visually impaired individuals can actually benefit from this bit of artificial intelligence. We can also talk about bridging the educational gap in as far as AI is concerned. AI is actually a good thing in bridging the educational gap in the sense that materials and content that can be accessed in the city or anywhere in the world can also be accessed in the remote communities in Africa. So this gap gets bridged because the content that are all over the world can also be accessed. So in rural Africa or in rural communities, students get to be a part of the journey and the trend, actually. It also helps the visually impaired, like I indicated earlier, and then also AI-driven chatbots also helps with tutoring supports, because students can actually access these 24/7, and within the shortest possible whatever issues or concerns that they have, get access to
I
them.
don't know, only him on the screen.
We also have career development and employability. Now, this is a good thing about artificial intelligence, because employment is actually a major thing in Africa. Now, what happens is that AI-powered education can equip students with the relevant skills for the modern workforce, which is a great thing. So the kinds of skills that my colleagues in the United Kingdom, the United States, can acquire with the help of artificial intelligence, I can equally do same. So I become a part of the workforce and the career journey. Now let's look at some of the challenges that teachers and students encounter as far as AI is concerned. The first one is the teacher dependency on AI, which was a major blow for me when artificial intelligence actually started a journey, because I was of the notion that we were going to lose our creativity rates, because we are going to be relying on AI for almost everything. So the over-reliance on AI tools could actually reduce the teacher engagement, which will affect students' critical thinking and their interpersonal skills. We also have the issue of data privacy and security breach. It is very good to respect everyone's info whenever you have it at your end. And since AI actually relies on data to give us what we are looking for, we stand at a risk as far as data privacy, data protection, and security of individuals, specifically here students, are concerned. So that is one of the downsides of AI. Also, the high cost of implementation, it can be extremely expensive for funded communities and underfunded schools to actually acquire AI tools. As a matter of fact, the ability to even access technology, I mean, internet can even be a major blow to many communities, rural communities in Africa. So it can be very expensive. That is also one downside of artificial intelligence. Another downside is the loss of human interaction. Individuals are likely to rely on artificial intelligence for almost everything without the human-to-human connection, the human-to-human interactions. So the excessive use of AI is actually going to reduce that human-to-human engagement, which is very crucial for social and then emotional development. We can also look at the quality and bias of AI algorithms, where since AI actually learns from historical data, like for instance, whatever is happening here today can actually be or be trained onto an AI platform tomorrow. So in that case, the AI system is actually relying on whatever is happening today, which is going to be history tomorrow, to perform effectively. And this can lead to unfair and inaccurate assessment of students, actually. So that is one thing that needs to be looked at if we are imbibing AI in our system. We can also look at the lack of skills and knowledge of teachers and students. Now, to be able to use the AI tools effectively, teachers need to know what it is and how to use it. The same thing applies to students. So when teachers lack the knowledge and skills on how to operate AI tools effectively, it is going to affect the results that they get back in return. A typical example, AI reporting tools will require great skills in writing the prompt, actually, and then also interpreting the data for the utmost delivery and performance of the system. You need to learn how to write good prompts in ChatGPT in order to get the results that you're looking for, right? So usually teachers lack some of these knowledge and skills, and in underfunded communities, it can be expensive to even pay for some of these tuition to get the right skills and technology. Now, some of the strategies that we can look at when we are implementing AI in the teaching and learning process. With the data privacy and data protection, we can actually look at what is happening in the UK and then in the US, where they have the GDPR and then the FERPA, which are data protection laws, which helps regulate and protect the data of individuals. So we can look at how some of these are done and see it as an inspiration for us to follow, just so we know that data is well protected and it's being used for the right purpose, just so we're not going to be experiencing any breaches. We also need to look at the over-reliance of AI by teachers. Now, teachers need to understand that AI is an assistant, but not a replacement. So the over-reliance of it should not be tolerated by leads and heads, but rather AI should be there to support teachers and not to take over their roles. So this is something that as we are traveling, we should know, we should have that at the back of our mind, that AI is just an assistant, but not to take over human beings, because by so then we can be even creative as we ought to be. We also need to encourage human interactions, and we can do so by even blending the traditional way of teaching and then the modern, which is the use of AI. We can make it hybrid. We also need to train educators on AI and help them integrate AI meaningfully into the lessons that they offer to students. We can look at the accountability and transparency, actually. AI tools should provide clear reasoning for their recommendations and grading. In other words, teachers and heads need to know how AI operates, just so they can understand the reasons behind the recommendations and then the gradings that they're giving. In some settings, some people think artificial intelligence is something that mysteriously gives reports and feedbacks, but that is not the case. What happens is that it's a system that is being trained and fed with billions of data. So whenever you would need an info, you get into it and then you tap into its knowledge base. So we need to understand how it works, just so we know and understand the recommendations and suggestions that it gives. We also need to look out for ethical policies, which are going to create guidelines on how AI is to use and who should be responsible for the errors that are likely to occur. We need to have these ethical policies to check some of these things. We also need to look out for independent monitoring. We can have a third-party body which actually will look out for some of these things, actually. So the school will be there, all right, but then we can have external bodies. It could be individuals with enough tech knowledge who can actually get on board to actually assess what is happening with the use of AI and then help make recommendations, because AI is just a system which is being created by human beings. So we can, there can be errors. Yeah, exactly. We also can look at the digital divide and accessibility. We need to ensure that the right infrastructure, the right tools and technologies are being provided. And this should cut across from the funded schools to underfunded or underprivileged schools. We can also capitalize on offline AI models that's such available, where regardless of where you are, you can actually access data from it, which we can capitalize on some of these things. And of course, we can also look out for alternative learning methods, like I indicated earlier. It could be hybrid, where we blend the traditional teaching and learning with that of AI, which is going to be a good blend. We also need to look out for the bias and fairness, where we have a body that regularly audits the AI algorithms to detect unfairness in any biases and ensure that the system actually has the right data. We also need to look out for diverse data training to ensure that the system is actually trained with a wide range of student backgrounds, just so the outcome from the system will be great. Like, it's not going to be something that is going to be biased, because we have different kinds of students and how they absorb and learn. So as an AI system, by stating human attitude, we should be able to train the system with some of these human attitudes to ensure that It is able to serve all classes of students. And then also teachers don't have to overlook certain things. Teachers should always review AI-generated documents and recommendations, because it is not always going to be correct, or it's not always going to be accurate, because like I indicated earlier on, it's the data hub that we draw the knowledge from. So we need to look out for some of these things just to ensure that the right thing is being fed to students, just to ensure that we talk about the right thing with the right confidence. We also need to ensure that there is the knowledge on AI tools and technology to ensure that effective and maximum use. We need to learn how to use some of these platforms. Teachers need to be trained, students need to be trained. So when we take ChatGPT, for instance, it can do so many things. So we can run programs like how to generate content, how to write reports, how it analyzes students' data, and so on and so forth, and how we can even generate it back in Word formats, Excel, PDF, and so on and so forth. So teachers need to be taught, to be trained on how to do some of these things. It's very important when we train teachers on how to use some of these things, because it is going to impact students as well, because whatever our teachers know is what they teach us.
Sir, you have 1 minute remaining.
Great, thanks. I'm gonna wrap it up. So yeah, I'm done. I'll conclude by saying is that the integration of AI in education presents a transformative opportunity for both teachers and students by addressing long-standing educational challenges and enhancing learning outcomes. With the right investment, partnerships, strategic planning, AI can serve as a powerful tool to aid education and empower teachers and students for brighter future. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Kofi, as well as Dr. Adeola. Now, we've heard about, we received an overview of AI, as in we got some background knowledge on it, we got some foresight, we got some way in which we can use it. We've learned some security protocols and stuff like that. Now, let's look at some of the opportunities now that lies inside of the artificial intelligence education around some more of the challenges, but let's take it now in same education, but from a rural communities. So at this time, I would like to ask Ambassador Pamela Odibelli, the CEO of Starlight Development Services Limited. If you can come forward and make your presentation. You have 10 minutes.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining the call from. It's an honor to address you today on a topic that I'm not just passionate about, but one that would potentially redefine the future of education, and then particularly in rural communities. I advocate for lifelong learning, seeing that we live in a constantly evolving world. So the emergence of artificial intelligence has sparked my interest. So dealing with artificial intelligence, we are not just talking about technology now like we're used to. We are exploring a transformative force capable of closing gaps, creating opportunities, and then building bridges where none existed. So let us consider this moment as a call to action to harness artificial intelligence potential for greater good. However, we should all know that in every good, there remain challenges. Now, what is the current reality of education in rural communities? Rural communities have faced many challenges when it comes to education. And this is not just in Nigeria, but in many parts of the world. They are faced with schools that lack basic infrastructures, limited access to textbooks, unavailable teachers and teaching aids. We have where teachers are even present, we have most teachers overburdened, often teaching multiple grades at once. In Nigeria, we have a record of over 10 million children who are out of school. I like to say this is even more than is stated, but then we're going with the record. We have over 10 million children out of school. And then a significant portion of these children reside in rural areas. These children face barriers such as poverty, long distances to school, limited access to qualified educators, and etc. Now, the rest of the world is talking technology. Right now, we are talking artificial intelligence. It really seems we are drifting further apart from these children in rural communities. And there lies a bigger question: can artificial intelligence close this gap? It is not just a lack of resources, it's the lack of opportunity. So imagine a young girl in a rural village who dreams of becoming a doctor, but has never seen a functioning laboratory or a computer. These are the realities I believe we are here to change. Now, how can AI serve as a game changer in education in these rural communities? Many of us, at the mention of artificial intelligence, we begin to think about robots or high-tech gadgets. Now, AI is not just that. It is about intelligent systems that can adapt, learn, provide solutions tailored to specific needs. Now, in rural communities, AI can provide things such as personalized learning, as we've been hearing throughout this sections. Children learn differently and at different paces. In a traditional classroom of about, let's say, 50 students, the teacher may not be able to efficiently access and ascertain the comprehension of each child. They might ask the regular question that most of us have heard in our classrooms: do you understand? And then everybody says, yes. And the ones that are too shy to say they don't understand are left behind, because, like we all know, majority carries the vote. Now, AI-powered platforms such as Baiju in India adapt to the learning pace of each student. We can learn from such apps and then use in our classroom. In a rural Nigerian school, an AI-driven app could provide personalized tutorials in local languages, like has also been mentioned here. Now, we help children to grab the concept at their own speed and then in their mother tongue. Many rural communities speak indigenous languages, which are often not included in our mainstream education system. AI translation tools such as Google's Natural Language API can deliver lessons in local dialects, preserving culture while enhancing understanding and then unlocking the talents in rural communities. Because no matter how hard we try, we cannot solve the problems of rural communities like those who live in these rural communities and who have had the experiences of difficult learning in rural communities. Also, imagine a child that has been helped by AI and then even their teachers to be able to overcome this. And now the child comes up with a solution that can actually ease learning in rural communities. It will be more effective because that child has lived in a rural community, knows their exact pain points, and then can address this the pain points, right? In teacher empowerment, AI can assist teachers by automating administrative tasks like grading, allowing them to focus on teaching. So it is not just taking teaching away from teachers, but giving them opportunity to focus on their teaching. For instance, also in Kenya, an AI program called Shule, but I'm not so sure I pronounced that well, but it's fine, helps teachers design lesson plans tailored to their students' specific needs. Now let's look at access to quality resources. We have virtual labs powered by AI that can stimulate science experiments for students who have never seen a real laboratory. Tools like Khan Academy's AI-driven content provide rural students with access to high-quality education material at no cost. And currently, my children use this app, Khan Academy, and it's really exciting and good, right? So for a start, after all this, we're wondering, is this all roses with AI? Is AI all that beautiful? What are the challenges we are likely to face with this good news of AI and with focus on rural communities? We are looking at infrastructure deficits. We are still plagued by lack of stable electricity in our urban cities. Now, for the rural communities, we are not just looking at lack of stable electricity. Sometimes we are looking at total blackouts. Some people have not even had access to electricity. Internet connectivity. In them, some are very poor, and still some communities, internet connectivity is non-existent. Now, without this, deploying these AI solutions becomes difficult. For instance, in sub-Saharan Africa, only 28% of rural areas have internet access. That is a very poor number. Now, the cost of implementation is something that it's a challenge. AI technologies require significant investment. Government stakeholders must prioritize funding to make these solutions accessible and also prioritize rural communities when you are doing this. We have to factor in digital literacy in rural communities, and both teachers and students in rural areas often lack the technical skills to use these AI tools effectively. So when we are saying bring AI to the rural communities, can the people that need them use them? So we're going to talk about training programs that are essential to bridge this gap, and then consider the cost implication of actually carrying out this training program. Finally, there is one big boy in the room: security. For equipment that will be set up in these communities, how do we ensure they are protected? Knowing the state of security in our nation, how do we ensure the security of personnel that would help train both educators and students in communities where they already have issues? Now, let us also bear in mind that the longer we take to look into this, the more the world drifts away and leaves our rural communities behind. So this is like a very serious case. For every 10 steps, we are trying to help the rural communities, like the world is leaving 20, 30, 40 steps ahead as well. So we have to brace up. And all this being said, is this a hopeless note? Definitely, I wouldn't be the one to end on a hopeless note. I do not like that. I would like to call for public-private partnership, government, NGOs, private sector players. We must all collaborate to actually provide funding and then resources. For example, the partnership between UNESCO and Microsoft has brought AI-based learning tools to underserved areas globally. We can look at off-grid solutions, solar-powered devices, offline AI tools that can actually bring education to most remote areas. Projects that provide offline internet solutions for schools. Those are things we could look at. And also, like I have previously said, capacity building, training the teachers and the students to use these AI tools are very critical. We can set up programs that integrate AI training into their curriculum. So we have to look at curriculum revamping, right? Empowering teachers to utilize this technology effectively. AI in education in rural communities is not just about technology, it's about equity, it's about opportunity, and it's about transformation. Imagine a rural community where every child, regardless of their background, has access to the same quality of education as their peers in urban centers. Now, imagine the rural communities becoming developed. We don't even have to suffer overpopulation in our urban areas. We have that in Lagos, for example, the population issue. And if our rural communities are developed, people would want to stay there. If it's okay to live there, a lot of people work offline, remote jobs. If I can comfortably work in a rural area, why wouldn't I want to stay there? Now, imagine parents no longer worrying about whether their children can compete in a globalized world. That is so important. Not the fact that where you are giving birth to already puts you under, but undermining where you are giving birth to or where you live, you are able to compete effectively in a globalized world. Now, AI makes this vision attainable for rural communities. But then again, I would really like to say this: it can only be attainable if we act fast, if we act right, and if we act now. Thank you very much.
So act. So act, as she says. As Ambassador Pamela says, act. Yes, let's act right. Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you, Ambassador Pamela, for that wonderful presentation. You have hit the nail on the head. You've made sure that you've brought in the access. You've shown us the areas and the opportunities that is needed. And you've even provided some very good resources, which I can say is being used in certain communities. But the number one thing that you've mentioned is access. So thank you very much for that. With that, I think I'm going to make a brief pause right here. And I'm going to ask we're supposed to be having 2 call of actions this evening. But I think I'm going to let us get one of those call of action now. So I'm going to change up a little bit. And I'm going to have the Director of Business Development in Sigma Software Group, Anton Maruka, to come and give us a call to action where AI and education, where we can see it in the next agenda in regards to reimagining education in an age of AI. And then I will come back to the other part of the program. Anton Maruka, you have the floor, sir.
Hello, everybody. Dear ladies and gentlemen, very happy to meet you all today. I'm Anton, Director of Business Development in international IT company called Sigma Software Group. I have engineering background in computer science with focus on network technologies and AI. So my diploma in university a long time ago was about recognition of handwritten symbols. At that time, we didn't have all the modern AI frameworks and ChatGPT and all the other stuff. So I had to basically implement the diploma from scratch, and it was very, very exciting. Currently, I'm involved in the digitalization projects across all Africa. On many of them, I'm working with UN ambassadors, Dr. Eric Minta and Dr. Joseph Boni. I think some of them are present on the call today. Just a couple of words about Sigma Software Group. So we are an ecosystem of several companies doing IT solutions, consultancy, doing investment, and doing education for development of children in developing countries. For example, our charity project called Star for Life is active for many years, and it started in South Africa many years ago, and then in Namibia, Jerusalem, Ukraine, and others, and more than 500,000 students have passed through our different programs since then. I think that education plays a central role for the well-being of any country because, for example, we are focusing on IT education, and I think that IT education allows to have IT engineers, which increase digitalization of the countries they live in. They also for middle class, because typically, IT engineers, they have a good income, and this is good for the country. What I just 1 second, excuse me. I apologize. I'm on the road today, and my the quality of the image might be not 100%. I'm basically traveling right now. Yeah. What I want to say is that there have been multiple speakers which were talking about benefits of AI, and I can confirm that all of the things mentioned are true, because we are actually implementing AI projects nearly every month. We are starting a new AI project all over the world, and I can confirm the major points about benefits of AI, like that AI is always available 24/7. It's never sick, it's never on vacation, and it allows to bridge teachers' gaps, especially in rural areas of Africa. And another connected gap, which can be fixed with AI, is that education can be done from home, which is important for areas where it takes lots of time to reach. Also, there has been sorry, cost concern has been brought by previous speakers, which is partially true, but at the same time, I would say that AI education can be cost effective, because it allows to get education without having, expensive hardware or learning materials. Basically, even not very expensive telephones or laptops are enough. Then it's possible to develop learning tools in such a way that they will not require constant internet connectivity, which I know is important for Africa. Then personalized learning, has been told by Dr. Osita and many other speakers, allows to fix the problem with teachers' capacity, especially in classes in Africa, because they can often contain 30, 40 students or more. and then having learning materials in native languages, and not only widespread like English and French, but also African, Swahili, well, whatever languages, but basically. And I see that Africa is actually, in many aspects, is pioneering AI education, especially in Nigeria. Some of the cases has been brought by Dr. Sita, and it's really working very well. I want to mention that, and I think it was also mentioned by previous speakers, that compliance and regulation is very important, because there have been multiple cases of misbehavior by AI, by giving wrong recommendations, by giving illegal recommendations, even in some case. So in Europe, maybe some of you know, they have introduced EU AI Act, which is enforced now, and which assumes really high penalties, the same level as GDPR for misbehaving AI. And so it's very important to make sure that AI is implemented correctly. And this is also something that we do in Sigma Software, compliance and validation and regulation of AI systems. And then security concern has also been raised, which is very true. So data protection and information security protection in general is very important. So I want to say that introducing AI is very complex question. It's not only about, choosing correct AI tool or AI framework. It's also about compliance, data protection, regulation, and I agree that, as has been mentioned by previous speaker, collaboration of governments and private business, private IT integrators and IT companies is very important for successful implementation of AI.
We have one
But yeah, and basically, I'm finishing. I believe that Africa has very bright potential for education and for education with AI, and I hope I will have a possibility to be a part of it, and I hope to speak with you again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Antoine. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now I'm going to ask Mr. Vincent Vicari. He's the Regional Director of Bergen County Small Business Development Center in New Jersey, to come and speak to us. And again, we're still looking at AI and education when it comes to the challenges and the opportunities for education. And he now will pick up from where Ms. Pamela left off in regards to rural communities. Mr. Vincent Vicari, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here today. AI plays a role in many business development, rural community, and expansion strategies and policies, and ability for people to take action without having a deep knowledge of the destination for which they wish to move, sell, or sell products. In business or in moving products internationally, we have to look at the destination for where these micro products or small products or handmade products are going to go. So how would one do that? How would one get the resources necessary, the information necessary to define markets, to develop a marketing message strategy local to a destination from a faraway place? And so if one looks at the challenges that the topical areas that need to be addressed in business in general, and why I speak to that, because, of course, I am the director of the Small Business Development Center that serves Bergen County. We have in that county, that is the governmental district area, we have, for instance, one shopping mall where we have 2 million people a month that pass by. And through U.S. Africa, Benga, and U.S. Africa Trade and Business Network, and the folks, we had developed a kiosk to test market products. So why that may be of interest is that in order to sell products mainstream, one has to have a proof of concept or a test market. And so we were able to put that together at a place called Garden State Plaza. And I'll tie this to AI in a moment. Within Garden State Plaza, it's the #1 retail property in New Jersey. So if one wants to sell to Macy's or Nordstrom their products, they have to have a proof of concept, a test market. And so how would one develop the branding message unique to that area? Well, AI has tools that can do that. If when I say the area, I might be talking about anything from marketing message, development, product category, features, things one want to be interested in, a financial plan on a small scale, and all of the regulations and impediments that may affect a particular market category, whether it's food, then packaging and ingredients, whether it's product, then it's the chemicals used in the coloring. You know, all of these things for a micro business, a small business, these are difficult things to put together. So here at the SBDC, what we do is work with people on those challenges in the public sector. And so in order to make those challenges digestible, we were able to put a retail incubation program together that allowed people vestibule experience in selling in the US market, and then taking feedback and working with that. But now, so that's a practical, empirical experience that is real market research at the cash register. Now, there is AI components. If one wants to develop a marketing message, let us say ChatGPT, we use prompts. These prompts help us take a narrative and extract out of that narrative certain outcomes for a marketing message. And so we can look at the brand message for one. Why do you make the product? What is its message that you want to communicate? What is the mission and vision of the company? And then how do you make that locally centric? AI can help us do that by writing our message and then using AI to tweak it with prompts that will either come up empty or come up with the data we need, and then we know how to enhance that message. So there are many AI tools. I'm not speaking to those. I'm speaking to what we can do with it to give us an actionable data and a brand message, and how we can do it with either an imperfect knowledge of the local area, where we could put prompts, say, we're going to have within Bergen County, we're going to develop, for instance, maybe a cookie business, right? We're going to, or meringue nuts, or different juices. We could use AI to identify the touch points of sale. What are the things that people want to know when they purchase nuts or juice, or where is it going to be used? How are we going to use these things? We could get these ideas out of AI. And let's start simple. We just use a very popular one, which is ChatGPT. I teach in a graduate program. I teach the graduate capstone course. What I do that in there is I use AI for things we can't control. We know the students are going to use AI. And so we know that we're not going to be able to stop that and be able to monitor it in a school. We have tools to help us define when they're using AI for a replacement of their own work in an assignment. But, you know, we can fight a trend for only so long, right? We have to figure out how to integrate AI to the classroom. So in doing so, in the graduate programs I teach and in also the undergraduate, the students will use AI to refine their writing. So if they do reaction papers on articles, management theories, or case studies, I ask them to post up your raw assignment and then use AI and let me know what you did with AI and then refine that assignment and see how that it makes what you envision, what you write better. And when they do that, you say, okay, we're crediting, you know, AI for that work, but we're not plagiarizing with a tool either. So I think that's important in higher ed. However, the entrepreneur looking directly for direct results on the street at the kiosk or in the market, they're going to use AI for an outcome because it's going to be efficient. It's going to give them language, competency they may not have. And also we can use it to identify variables. What are those variables? The local market, the size of a local market, how to refine a message, how to bullet out features that would be that would be needed for a particular product. We can also use AI for things in addition to content that we can refine. We can remove our writing styles. We can write a document as best we think, an advertising message, a brand story, and then we can refine it better by removing our personal writing styles. And it's very good at doing that. So we can utilize AI for regional or local focus and help us change perspectives on how we develop and market a product, whether it is sustainable, for sustainable issues in a project. What are some of those sustainable things we'd like to identify? Whether it's the raw materials, energy savings and distribution, production, environmental impact, and AI helps give us those ideas to develop a better message. We have tools. One of them that I particularly use is Growth Wheel, and it goes through each topical area of business where people can utilize worksheets to better refine their elevator pitch. And in the elevator pitch, the AI can help them develop a compelling message. So I think that there are many tools, there are many add-ons, but I think that simple is better. And if we're looking at a micro business, we're looking at time efficiency. AI helps us do that on the street. In teaching in entrepreneurship, that is a focus. In teaching in other areas, strictly academic, AI helps the student by refining writing style, understanding and improving vocabulary, and then providing that we elevate the complexity of a document with AI. We can then provide hook points for learning outcomes by elevating the complexity of a document beyond what the student may initially think of. And so I use that as a learning outcome as well. So make it a higher level reading. And when the result comes in, then we have vocabulary that the students need to improve on, or things they did not know, or a different way of formulating a message. So I think we can't stop it. What we have to do is leverage it for learning outcomes, for profitability, and for creating messages that are compelling for purchasing in the marketplace. So whether it's a graduate program class or whether it is developing a marketing message for recycled product in fabrics, it is a valuable tool, and one that we really can't. We're not going to stop it because we would say in education that this is a crutch. That's not going to. That's kind of not going to happen. Is there any questions that are out there?
Any questions that's there, it will be in the Q&A section, which you can respond to directly in the Q&A section.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
All right, excellent. Well, there's ChatGPT, there are many others. There's Google. There's so many different ones. I think that finding the outcome, what you wish to get out of it, is important, and that would be my takeaway on AI.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Vincent. You've definitely put some students on high alert when it comes to utilizing AI to help them with their schoolwork, and then not realizing that as professors we have a way to tell when they did use AI from when they did not. So thank you very much for that, and at the same time for shedding light on certain areas that is needed. At this time, we're going to move on to promoting the development of critical AI literacies through involvement. Now, in this section, we're going to hear about preserving human agencies in a world of automation. And speaking to us will be the Director General for Schools Reforms, Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, Niger State, from the Niger State. Would be speaking to us will be Hajia Mohammed. Hajia Mohammed.
She's here.
Or Maimuna Mohammed. Is that
Yeah,
you?
she's there. She's right here. I don't know. Hajia, can you unmute, please, so that we can hear you?
Unmute, please, and have your camera on, if you can, please. Okay. All right.
She's having challenges.
She's might be having, so I will move on. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. At this time, we're going to look at teachers and AI when it comes to resources. So we have we have the outreach coordinator for Rampo College, New Jersey, who is Kathleen Cronin. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Yeah, you're perfect, Dr. Divan. You're perfect. Thank you.
As well as Ambassador Obi. So at this time, I will ask Ms. Kathleen, who is the outreach coordinator for Rampo College, New Jersey, to please educate us when it comes to TI teachers and AI resources. Go ahead, you have the floor. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Dr. Divan. Thank you also to everybody, and thank you especially Ada for bringing us into this group. We really appreciate it because this is an opportunity to also be able to speak to our wonderful African colleagues, especially that our connection has been through US Africa Hub and New York Africa Chamber of Commerce and AHWI. So we've been able to speak to a lot of people about what we do. So what we've been doing is we've been helping to integrate a lot of the opportunities in small business. So I'm the outreach. So what I do is basically I connect to your groups and figure out how we can do best in international trade and connecting opportunities. So when we met Ada through CSW 68 last year, we had a great opportunity to connect and be able to connect more. And that's why we're here today. So what I'm offering to let you know about today is what you already do. You're talking about business, you're talking about education. What I wanted to just talk briefly about is about AI tools in small business development and also in business English. Because at the college, so basically they're in all different disciplines of education, but what we're bringing in is not only small business opportunities for internships and engagement with small businesses, international, local, national, but also how to develop their acumen in small business development. So basically, for example, samples of dynamic assistance would be mission, capability statements, business plans, how to up their game on making things sound a lot more appropriate and more professional, than someone who's starting up and just saying, oh, well, I want to do this. And basically help the AI develop techniques in writing, taking out the personal and emotional styles of writing. We also are able to up the game in data analytics, helping clients and students understand more about break-even analysis, ring study analysis, marketing, financial forecasting. This way they're not left clueless. This way now AI, you can ask the direct questions of how can I change this up? How can I make it better? Before this, it was conversations, it was writing, it was going back and forth, it was taking forever. Now we're in split seconds. It's amazing. And also, I was saying before, it narrows down the writing styles, which really helps a lot because a lot of people that go into business, small business, they don't understand about writing styles. They don't know that their business plan is too emotional. So with AI, now you can just give the command, can you please, I say please, can you remove the emotion and or make it into a more professional writing style? And that really helps greatly, especially with the lenders, the banks, anybody that's important, and the commercial realtors when they're looking to buy a building for their factories and their warehouses. And everything from startup to next stage, government contracting, loans, as I mentioned before, grants, grant writing. It is essential. AI has changed the game amazingly and so much more. And of course, I'm very grateful to Ramapo College in New Jersey and their wonderful interns, and of course, Vince Bakari, who just spoke before me as well. And that's it. I'll make it very short.
Thank you very much. Thank you. With that, I'm going to have Miss Obi Omowilire. Sorry, I know.
Obi's just fine.
Okay, Miss Obi, I was pronouncing your name perfectly fine of late. I don't know what happened today. I'm sorry. But yes, you have the floor. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here. And I'm just going to go straight to the point. Everyone has touched on the challenges and opportunities of AI. I have, learned from everyone. And I'll just add, so not to repeat what everyone has said, I will really just touch on AI security.
Just a minute, Obe. Kathleen, can you please move off the screen so that we can see? Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm trying. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay. So I will talk about the AI security challenges when it comes to education in the rural areas. We know about the opportunities it brings with bridging gaps. The heartbeat of AI is data. So everything, it's the garbage in, garbage out. It's whatever you feed it. And so data is really critical. Security is really critical for the rural areas. And so what some of the nonprofits do is educating rural communities, letting them know about, cyber security threats, data security threats. And that's where I just want to add and touch on today. So data privacy, protecting student and teacher information from unauthorized access. And when I talk about cybersecurity, safeguarding the schools, their infrastructure, their data from cyber threats and attacks. And we also have algorithm bias. A lot of the tools and systems that are built, for AI today, and a lot of them are, just based on certain data in some certain regions. And so they might not necessarily apply to, say, Africa, right? And so that can bring a lot of bias from those systems. So helping students and educators understand some of those biases, right? And so awareness and training is so critical. Educating everyone, students, about AI security and how to mitigate a lot of these things. So some of the solutions that I'll talk about are implementing data encryption. And this might sound like very technical, but there are a lot of systems that, you know, educators in the rural areas can implement that, you know, they already come with data encryption. Stakeholders should implement the data privacy best practices. And it's also a call for everyone involved, all the stakeholders, to advocate for stronger AI regulations. We've heard in the news about DeepSeek. There's this new organization that's making the LLMs easier to develop in cheaper ways, and that might come with, you know, associated risks as well. So being educated about the risk that this system can potentially cause, especially when we talk about education, we're sometimes too we're talking about kids, like kids in the rural areas, helping them understand how to just stay within the guardrails of AI security. And then finally, I'll say some of the things that we can take away is to strengthen our policy frameworks around AI in education. So that means for the rural areas, join activities around that are talking about key AI policy frameworks, and increase investment in cybersecurity for rural schools, so to keep them safe. And then also continuous training. NGOs continue to provide training to educators in the rural areas on AI safety and ethics, and partnerships. Everyone here on this call, we're all doing great things with AI. And so just continue to foster partnership between schools, tech firms, universities, and policymakers. Thank you.
See, partnership is very important, because we all know one hand can't wash itself. It needs the support of the other hand in order to do such. So where partnership is concerned is very important. So touching and ending on that is very important. It's key, because that is something that really helps us drive and get to that next place where we can be able to deliver. So being able to develop that level of partnership, and then at the same time, understanding when it comes to the security risk, and being able to navigate around that is very important. So with that, I want us to, is Ms. Hija Mohammed, is she ready? Just unmute your mic for me, please, Ms. Hija.
Yes, I am ready.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. Please do talk to us on preserving human agencies in a world of automation. You have 5 minutes. Thank you very much. I can't hear you. I think your network is really in and out.
Network is bad, so I'm glad to introduce myself, but I'm just going to mute myself because I'm sure you will not hear the complete presentation due to the nature of my network, and I think my presentation is actually speaking to that as well. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
She's still there. Just give her a little minute. Haji, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead now. You can speak off camera.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So Hopefully you can hear me. I think my struggle since the Zoom meeting started is actually proving my point or what I'm about to say on the fact that our communities are at risk of being left behind in the rapidly evolving landscape of educational technology. And my wish is to highlight the pressing issue faced by our communities, a lack of basic access to essential e-infrastructure and resources. And the fundamental rights of all children, I believe, is to receive an adequate education. And that is in serious jeopardy right now, due to a lot of systemic factors. This ongoing crisis is exacerbating the widening gap in both traditional and digital learning opportunities for our communities. You know, our leaders right now are under immense pressure because the world is moving away so fast and we are really left behind. We are grappling with multiple challenges in our community, complex disadvantage that cyber technology is actually throwing at us. So we right here in Niger State, Nigeria, are going through tremendous issues of insecurity, sustainability, food shortage. So much is going on. So years of systemic failures have been affecting us. So we need meaningful engagement from the global community in transforming some fundamental, equitable, and just processes. While it is undeniable that AI technology offers significant benefits to society as we are moving into different technological era, I believe that we are facing in Africa generally, and specifically in Nigeria right now, critical challenges related to access to internet, which I have been facing since we started this program. Educational materials are not available. Even the manual ones are not available right now. Inadequate infrastructures are not there. Absence of regulatory frameworks that will govern the usage of AI are not there. Shortage of skilled professionals are not there for us. So what does this mean for our future right here in Nigeria, Niger State as a whole, or even in the whole of Africa? Today we urge, for me, I think I'm urging the global community to come together and make a collective commitment to support. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear her. Go ahead, please, Haji.
So my final word, because my network is terrible, is that we, and I specifically, as Director General of Education Reform for Niger State, is urging the global community to come together and make a collective.
We can't hear her, so we'll just have to come back to her.
I do hear her.
Commitment.
Oh, you do hear her still?
Yes, her audio is coming through, just not the...
Yeah, we are hearing her.
Okay. You can hear her.
Okay.
All right. Well,
yes, I hear Mommy.
Let me know whenever.
So,
thank you.
So I'm gonna. I am urging, and I think generally all of us in Nigeria are urging the global community to come together and make a collective commitment to support significant technological development in e-learning first. I think we are left behind in e-learning. Talk about AI. Even though AI is amazing, we are not against it, but we are like just the general AI learning is where we are looking for things like that to standardize those aspects so that our children can at least interact with those technologies that the West is thinking are just basic. The advancement of the Western world is really being sold out as if we are all at that level. We are not. That is our reality. By focusing on the enhancement of competency in e-learning, we can establish a solid foundation for our children and for wider adaptation and intellectual growth in AI research and development. So that is my submission to this. I think I am calling for action, things that are really actionable process. Of course, for us not to admit that we are left behind, I think it's a crime in itself. We are left behind. So let's be realistic in our presentation. And I think from my state here, that is my reality, and I have presented it to you. And I hope after this, we will be able to take some actionable solution to my call to action. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mohammed. Indeed, you are right. You are 100% right when it comes to the reality that we have communities that are being left behind. And not saying yours is a prime example, but it goes to show when we don't have access, like everyone else, we can fall behind. And even though some of us might have access, by not receiving adequate access, we can fall into that category from time to time. So I do implore everyone, based on the charge there given by Ms. Mohammed, let us be realistic as well. Yes, we have all the niceties and everything. We see the benefit of it, but we have to zero in on the reality behind it. So in ensuring AI complements rather than replaces essential human elements of learning, here, my child is my pride in the era of AI, essential human elements of learning. We're going to hear from Odilora, and the director of the JUNI and Irene Menakaya Foundation International. We hear from these two groups. So first, let me ask Ogbufi, the chief, if you can please come on and make your...
Call Dr. Nnamdi Menakaya. The Ogbufi is having challenges. I'm trying to get him in.
Okay. Dr. Menakaya, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you so much, moderator. I like to align with all the existing protocols.
We can't see
so
you.
My responsibility or my task is to... My task is to... Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me? Very, very good. So my task is to discuss... 1 minute. To discuss ensuring artificial intelligence complements rather than replaces essential human elements of learning. My child is my pride in the era of AI, essential human elements of learning. The case of Barrister JUNI Menakaya and Irene Menakaya. Very well. So I like us to look at this presentation under this outline. First, introduction and concepts of artificial intelligence, complementing essential learning, the place of AI, and limitations of AI in essential human learning. And I'd like to lay the foundation of my discussion by saying that artificial intelligence should be the bridge to better education, not a replacement for existing methods of learning. I'm sure a lot of speakers before me have highlighted several aspects of artificial intelligence, whether it's definition or other aspects of artificial intelligence, but I'd like to add my voice to that. And we can look at artificial intelligence as the set of technologies that deploys machines to mimic human behavior or simulate human intelligence. While essentials of learning we can define as the fundamental skills, knowledge, and abilities that form the foundation of education and human development, by which learners can independently think, critically, solve problems, and communicate effectively, as well as participate in meaningful social interactions. Okay, so in the society. Now, the concept of artificial intelligence encompasses the ability of a machine to exhibit intelligent behavior equivalent to or indistinguishable from that of humans. Alan Turing, who is considered to be the father of artificial intelligence, in 1950 proposed the Turing test, which is a measure of a machine's ability to exhibit intelligent behavior equivalent to or indistinguishable from that of a human. In essence, artificial intelligence does not exceed the capacity of human intelligence. It can only derive from the attributes of human intelligence. Now, the Turing test, which was first proposed by Alan Turing, I mentioned, involves a human evaluator engaging in natural language conversations with both a human being and a machine without the knowledge of which is which. In other words, he was double-blinded to the machine or the human. And the evaluator then decides which conversation partner they believe to be human. Now, AI in education is the use of artificial intelligence technologies to enhance teaching and learning process. This can also include personalized learning experiences, intelligent monitoring systems, automated grading, and administrative support. AI can help identify students' strengths and weaknesses, providing tailored recommendations and resources to improve their learning outcomes. And it should support rather than replace essential human-driven education. Indeed, it should be seen as a smart assistant and not a replacement. Now, Barrister JUNI and Irene Menakaya were pioneers in human-driven personalized learning experiences and intelligent tutoring systems, especially at the fundamental or foundational kindergarten stages of children's education in Nigeria, in particular Eastern Nigeria. The essential human learning methodologies they conceived and implemented starting in the early 1970s were designed to identify strengths and weaknesses of kindergarten pupils, providing tailored recommendations and resources to improve their learning outcomes. And I can say that the results of their methodologies and what they were able to achieve are evident in the lives of so many Nigerians today in their middle and early elderly age groups. Many are in diaspora, many are in different parts of the world, and imparting lives in different aspects of human endeavor. Now, what about the importance of artificial intelligence in essential learning in the rural settings? As we all know, rural Africa faces significant challenges, including shortages of teachers, limited resources, and infrastructural gaps. And really, this is where artificial intelligence will be ideally offer relevant or complement, education in rural areas, especially in present days where you really don't find people going to education because of problems of poor immigration and so on. Now, these communities also possess, I'm talking about rural communities now, rich local knowledge and traditions, which are invaluable educational assets, particularly in the African setting. And it's pertinent to ask, will AI in these settings be able to incorporate, methods of indigenous learning, such as storytelling, apprenticeship, and community engagement, which are learning methods that are applicable to the African rural setting. So it's important to create balance between artificial intelligence and human-driven elements of education in achieving effective learning and education. The slide is stationary now. Okay, so how can AI complement learning? Several speakers have spoken about this. It can be in the context of adaptive learning platforms to help students progress at their own pace. That is one of the key essentials of AI. Students can learn at their own pace. AI tutors can also supplement, not replace teachers. So in situations where you have, like I mentioned, a dearth of teachers or inadequacy in number of teachers, AI tutors can actually complement the efforts of teachers. Now, we also know that AI-powered translation tools can support multilingual learning. And they can also use offline AI tools or apps to provide access to knowledge despite internet limitations, which, as somebody has pointed out, these are some of the challenges we find in the rural setting. AI tools can also be deployed to empower teachers, assist teachers by automating administrative tasks, such as grading of students' work. It can also be used to train teachers to use AI tools or training.
Doctor, I think you're on mute if you're talking to us.
You're muted.
Yeah. Hello, Doc. Doctor, can you hear me, please? You're on mute.
Dr. Menakaya, sorry, you're muted. Please unmute. Dr. Menakaya, not sure if you can hear me. However, you're muted. Can you unmute yourself, please? Dr. Menakaya?
Connectivity is not full.
Okay. Dr. Menakaya, we can't hear you, sir. You're muted.
I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear
Access
you.
to technology, talking about limitations of artificial intelligence in essential human learning. Before then, I talked about the fact that AI offers exciting possibilities for education, but there are limitations. Such limitations include the lack of ability to offer emotional intelligence and nuanced contextual understanding that human teachers possess. AI will also struggle to recognize and respond appropriately to students' emotional needs, social cues, or subtle cultural contexts that shape learning. Moreover, the promise of AI-driven education can inadvertently widen the digital divide, especially for rural settings with limited resources and infrastructure. Again, access to technology and reliable internet connectivity are prerequisites for utilizing AI tools. That has been highlighted by other speakers. And if these resources are not distributed equitably, then AI could actually exacerbate existing inequalities we have in education, especially in the context of urban and rural settings. Now, last but not by any means the least, ethical concerns must be addressed. AI learning materials are trained on data, and if the trained data reflects existing societal biases, the AI system will most likely perpetuate or even amplify or exacerbate those biases, leading to unfair or discriminatory outcomes for certain student populations. And you recall the recent challenges that we identified with the American legal system, the criminal justice system, where it was found that the tools used to help the judges or justices to determine sentencing, to arrive at sentencing decisions, had to evaluate the background criminal records of individuals involved who are facing who were facing criminal judgment, and it was noted that those records, as shown up by AI instruments, were actually seriously in favor of the white population and discriminated against the Black population. Now, AI training data must be diverse and representative of all relevant groups and social context. In other words, we need to pay attention to the elements of bias with AI instruments in learning. It's important to emphasize that human oversight is necessary for AI decision-making processes and for accountability for bias outcomes. Now, to conclude, a truly effective approach to integrating AI in education lies in embracing a hybrid model that combines the strengths of AI with irreplaceable value of human interaction. Leveraging AI for tasks like personalized learning and resource access, preserving the crucial role of human teachers as mentors, facilitators, and guides who can provide emotional support, foster critical thinking, and cultivate emotional skills. To make this hybrid model a reality, substantial investment in AI literacy, both for teachers and students, is essential. For instance, teachers need training to effectively integrate AI tools into their classrooms and learning processes or teaching processes, understand their pedagogical implications. Students also need to develop an understanding of how AI works, potential benefits and limitations, and how to use it responsibly and ethically. Needless to say, this combined approach will ensure that AI serves to enhance rather than diminish the human element that is so vital in a well-rounded education. Now, to make this hybrid model of educational learning feasible in African context, significant human material resources as well as willingness, which is very important on the part of policymakers, are needed for its effective implementation. This is not only imperative, but the time is now. Else, the existing gap in technological advances and living standards between the developed nations and the developing countries of Africa would widen to unacceptable levels. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that, Dr. Menakaya. At this time, speaking to us on transforming education in retrospect to the rural, a roadmap for the culturally positive, responsive AI-powered tools. We'll now hear from Lady Rachel.
Right. I thought you were going to mention my other name.
I looked at it. You know what? Let me leave it right there. Sorry, please. Please go ahead. That's me. I don't want to. I would like to. It's simple. But
it's simple. All right. All right.
Is it Lundgren?
Come again?
Lundgren?
Yeah, you did well. Congratulations.
Oh, okay, so
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Lady Rachel A. Lundgren.
Just learning from AI.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome distinguished guests and stakeholders to the implementation session on the ongoing discussion. I think we've done all the talk today, so it's time to translate the talk to actions. And the implementation session aims to examine strategic approaches to leveraging AI in transforming rural education. So the topic or subject on AI for transforming education is an important and timely discussion as we gather here today to mark the United Nations International Day of Education, a day dedicated to reaffirming education as a fundamental human right and a key driver of sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lady Rachel Akusia Lundgren, and I am the president of I Believe Global Foundation, an organization that is anchored in SDG 5 about women's empowerment and gender equality, and more focus on developing economies. We are advocating policies on global, national, community, and individual level. On the other hand, I am a development practitioner specializing in implementation science. Let's moving. Okay. So on the screen is outline for my presentation, and I will begin by giving a brief introduction on the need for advocating transformational change in education, especially those in the rural communities, and the role of AI in the transformation processes. And also I will propose some key policies or points that stakeholders need to consider before adoption of AI in rural educations. And I will also propose some intervention strategies or strategic approaches for effective AI implementation in rural education. And then we'll come to conclusion and call to action, and that's it. All right. So there is a need for transformation in education. At this pivotal stage in the global development, education remains one of the most crucial sectors that requires urgent transformation. We live in an era of rapid technological advancement, yet inequality, social inequalities, political and economic inequality persist, especially in the marginalized communities and rural communities. Technology has emerged as a powerful tool designed to address social, political, and economic inequalities and drive social innovations for a more inclusive and equitable society. Among these technological advancements, artificial intelligence, which I say the almighty AI, represent a groundbreaking technological advancement that has potential to bridge the equity gap in education for rural communities. So the question is, why AI is crucial for rural education? For me, the answer is because there is significant challenges or gap that exists in rural education. Despite global effort to improve education, rural communities continue to face significant or persistent challenges, and these barriers create significant disparities between rural and urban education outcomes, ultimately affecting students' future opportunities and socioeconomic mobility. And some of the contributing factors that exacerbating these inequalities are, as my other colleagues have already said, limited resources and poor infrastructure, teacher shortages, limited access to quality teachers, there is high prevalence of school dropout in rural communities compared to urban, and it is due to socioeconomic issues that make students drop out, according to report. And there also limited exposure to STEM and emerging technologies. And also there is the gap of language barriers. So what is the role of AI? How can AI bridge the gap in transforming rural education? So as I've understood from my colleagues that AI can personalize learning, they can increase accessibility, they can address teacher shortages, they can enhance student engagement, or can give real-time feedback, and also for career development so that students can be more resilient to fit the rapidly evolving workforce. So here are some of key points or policies that stakeholders need to consider before adoption of AI in education, when, as we know, that infrastructure development is really a limitation for rural communities, and therefore government need to, or stakeholders needs to invest in basic infrastructure like internet connectivity and electricity to ensure AI tools can function effectively in rural environments. There also, according to report, that digital literacy is very low among teachers. Therefore, stakeholders must ensure that they will promote digital literacy among teachers as well to effectively integrate AI tools in their learning processes. And also stakeholders must ensure that they advocate. Sorry, I need to, yes. Stakeholders need to ensure that they advocate for affordable and scalable solutions that can be accessible to areas that have poor limited access to technology. Continue. So also about planning and implementation, that we must ensure that the relevant stakeholders across sectors should collaborate for implementation of frameworks including government, NGOs, community leaders, all those involved must collaborate to make sure that we have a transformative or systemic change by proposing systemic think approach, and also talking about addressing culture and language barriers. Stakeholders must look at that in the framework that we develop, must also ensure that issues with language barriers needs to be addressed in this policy framework. Talking about equity and inclusion, stakeholders must also consider that they address issue with equity and inclusion, because without proper planning, AI-powered education could widen existing inequalities rather than bridging educational gap. And stakeholders must ensure that they advocate for equity-sensitive approach. It should be prioritized in the framework. So on my screen, proposed strategies. I'm talking about strategic approaches for effective implementation in rural education. One of them that stakeholders must strengthen collaboration with AI developers, educational institutions, and funding organizations. And also government must formulate policies or framework that support AI integration in schools, ensuring its responsible and sustainable use. And also before adoption of AI, there should be a pilot program or case studies in selected schools before large-scale deployment. And finally, as I said before, we need to advocate for affordable and scalable initiative, meaning that government or stakeholders will advocate for AI-driven mobile and offline learning platform for areas with limited internet access. So concluding my presentation, concluding this presentation, AI has the potential to revolutionize rural education by enhancing accessibility, personalization, and efficiency. Strategic investment in infrastructure, training programs, and policy frameworks are essential for successful AI adoption in rural schools. So on the way forward, that stakeholders must or should expand investment in AI-powered education tools for all rural communities. And stakeholders should or strengthen partnership between government, NGOs, tech companies, and all relevant stakeholders. Third, that, as I've said before, launch pilot programs in selected rural communities to test AI-driven solutions. And also, there should be a digital literacy among teachers for seamless AI integration. So the final thought here, which I caught, that AI will not replace teachers. It cannot do that, but teachers who uses AI will replace those who do not. So below are some of the references that I've utilized for this presentation, and questions, answers. I'm done. Thank you so much. Below are my contacts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lady Rachel, President for I Believe Global Foundation in Sweden. At this time, we're going to hear from Dr. JUNI Menakaya, the Vice President for JUNI and Irene Menakaya Foundation International. Dr. JUNI?
Hello, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Fabulous. Can you see my screen? Sorry, I don't think I put the right one. Sorry.
Yes, you can see your screen.
Can you see my screen? Okay.
It's blank now.
Is it blank? Okay, sorry. Is that better? Is that better?
Right. Go ahead, sir.
Got my screen? Thank you. I just want to thank everybody. My name is Menakaya. I'm the Vice President of the Barrister JUNI and Irene Menakaya Foundation. I just want to thank everybody and the people who've contributed so eloquently to education in rural communities, particularly with AI. I'm not really going to go through what people have said because I think people have spoken more eloquently than I could ever think of, not being an educationist myself. But what I wanted to do was to perhaps use this opportunity to remind us of rural plus, and the real meaning of rural plus and how it came about. Rural plus stands for Rural Remote Affordable Learning. It was first mooted during COVID, when, as we remember, children across the globe were not accessing education simply because they could not connect to an internet or mobile network or whatever to be able to have some learning when children had to be at home. And so we began the time thinking around rural and remote learning, making it affordable, accessible, and a few of the other things that we're talking about. And we added plus there because we recognize that technology was a key aspect of how you can make sure that people have access to appropriate education. And of course, technology. Today, we are talking sort of the next level of technology, which is AI. And so just to highlight sort of the disparities that we have, if we look at it today, most of us, half of the global population live in rural communities. Actually, a lot of our children live in rural communities. Unfortunately, those communities are never served properly. And I think we've hinted at it today. They have poor power, poor road infrastructure. The economic activity there is always under pressure. And of course, technology, which we've seen today play out in this conference. So when we begin to think about rural education, how do you then square up lifelong learning, which someone talked about very eloquently? The education is not just for children, but it's lifelong and all the opportunities that come with that. With the context that the reality is that they'd have poor access to those things that make technology and education better. For example, AI. How do you square that up? And I think that is a real challenge for any policymaker, any investor, or any teacher. So I think my older brother hinted at some of the our parents and how they started. Irene Menakaya School was founded in 1979, in nearly 50 years. But then prior to that, I personally was one of the early pioneers of driving education for preterm children, not for young children, kindergarten children in southeastern Nigeria, then very much a rural part of Nigeria. But as they've passed on and their foundation, what we really want to do is to focus our attention on how we can deploy communities in technology in those areas, such that despite their infrastructural disadvantages, however we can get technologies to those people, we can maximize their self-driven and individualized education. So the vision for the foundation is in terms of the rural, is that every child in the world's rural communities should use some degree of should have some digital enabled device to enable together with the infrastructure that goes with it, and appropriate teachers. Interestingly, my colleague just said there, if you are not into AI, you'll be lost. But within a relevant, exciting educational curriculum, because that often will be the first step towards creating a really great educational outcome. So design a curriculum that is relevant to the local people, train the teachers, and the children will fall into line. The children are incredibly adaptive and resilient. And the mission we want to do, our mission will be to work with, and I hear in this talk today, we've had investors, we've had technology, we've got educationists, and people have talked about stakeholders. So really to work with global and local partners in education, in government, in finance, in technology, to ensure that we have appropriately affordable technological support to enable education in rural communities. Nigeria, of course, is a big one, Africa, but also generally across the world, to ensure that no child is left behind. If you're asking me about our roadmap to that, I think those are things I will be thinking about. One is what curriculum, particularly now we've got huge, a lot of educationists in this call, what curriculum that is appropriate, therefore, that will reflect the needs of that local environment, so rather than importing something from somewhere else. And once you've got that, because you're thinking about digital technology, how do you provide the infrastructure for that? What are the government policy, the financial structure, and the rebate that can enable that to happen? And of course, you don't have curriculum without appropriate teachers. So not just the teachers of today, but the teachers of tomorrow. How do you then develop that sort of training? But then to make sure that they are clearly, they reflect the rural community needs. And of course, then to implement a system where you have affordable access. I think accessibility and affordability is really important if you want to really have that game-changing opportunity to use technology to reach people in rural communities. And as you're doing that, you're learning, you're researching, you're auditing, you're monitoring impact, and you're continually changing. So it comes back again to AI. You're able to do that, and it's continually learning. And I think that for me is the roadmap that we can use to make sure that that happens. So the other thing I will say, rounding up, is that all of us here will have access to expertise, we've got access to resources, and of course, there's that vast network we can all tap into that can help us support the vision of this foundation to ensure that we can reach out to rural communities, and more importantly, as we reach out to them, to impact on lifelong learning. So my thank you for time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jide. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Coming to speak to us now would be our keynote speaker, Chief Ogbufi. Sorry, no. Yes,
Chief,
yes.
Chief Okechukwu,
sorry.
Yes.
My bad.
Yes.
I had the wrong one in front of me, sorry.
Yes. So, Odelora, are you there? Can you come in?
No.
Good.
Odelora. Good evening. Hello. Hello, Rudy. Good day. This is Odelora now speaking.
Yes.
On the 6th legacy lecture for Barrister JUNI and Irene Menakaya, the team, artificial intelligence and educational challenges and opportunities for education in rural communities. The Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, 7th edition, defines artificial intelligence, AI, as an area of study concerned with making computers copy intelligently human behavior. To this end, many activities earlier carried out by man are now computerized. This poses a lot of challenges educationally to prepare our children to cope with the global scientific and technological advancement within the rural communities. The government or the education solution providers should, through the use of information technology, address the situation at the grassroots level. This requires, at these new times, more trained and competent digital education teachers. And this, when vigorously pursued, would make learning in this 21st century an enchanting possibility within or without the classroom and the drawing board. I wish to digress here and talk about late barrister Jeremiah Uzochukwu Nwoye Ikechukwu Menakaya, JUNI, and Mrs. Irene Nwobo Menakaya, whose sixth legacy lecture is taking place online now. Late barrister JUNI Menakaya was born on Ored Market Day in Omambala Division of Eastern region in Nigeria. He had his early education at St. John's Anglican Primary School, now Pioneer Primary School, Onitsha. He got admission into the prestigious Dennis Memorial Grammar School, DMGS, Onitsha, for his secondary education from 1945 to 1950. On graduation from DMGS in 1950, he enrolled into pharmaceutical school in Bobi, Lagos, with the likes of late Dr. Ogwejopo Nwankwo of Obosi, Bishop Jonathan Onyemelukwe, and the late Bishop of the Niger Diocese, and many others. When he finished with the pharmacy school, he established a popular chemist at Ibadan called Menax Chemist. He was the person that created the Menax business name for all the Menakaya children. In 1957, at the age of 27 years, he married his wife, former Miss Irene Nwobo Ilozwe from Wama Obunike. In 1961, they were joined in holy matrimony at Ibadan. In 1966, they flew to Great Britain to study law and his wife to study nursery education. In Nigeria, they implemented such ingenuity that it laid foundation for emergence of great, brilliant people in various fields of woman and the world, who are now making waves everywhere they are, globally. In 1975, he was elected to the first executive chairman of the old Anambra Local Government Council. As a matter of fact, he was the first Omonia man to venture into politics after the Nigeria-Biafra War. And it is worthy of note, too, that many government administrations in this country told the line of his administration and vision. His ambition to make the old Anambra local government council, which are now been split into 4 local government councils, where a new face did not materialize because of the greedy persons in the local government council then. JUNI was a visible god to many people, both in Nomonia and elsewhere. An intellectual who graduated in 3 prominent professions. He was really ready to address squarely the issues of underdevelopment or backwardness of the local government area, notwithstanding the fact that the area is the food basket of Anambra State. On the journalistic front, JUNI was seriously involved in the University of Jos Igbo Hebrew Genealogical research project, and I had been working on the following topics. 1, Igbo legal system. 2, the Igbo and the Jewish race. 3, Osebruwarism. 4, ancestral worship. 5, Chi and Jewish tradition. In Barrister JUNI Menakaya, we understand that what Benjamin Franklin 1706 to 1790 wrote. If you do not want to be forgotten as soon as you are dead, either you write things worth reading or do things worth writing about. JUNI really did things and lived a life worth writing about. By dint of hard work and perseverance, he tenaciously climbed the ladder of fame with vigor and strong sense of determination, rare in those days. Consider the number of his children sent overseas, all graduates, including his siblings, and all are powering wherever they are. To God be the glory. On Mrs. Irene Menakaya, she was born on 17th August 1937 to the family of catechist and Mrs. Stephen Iloze of Amawo Bunike in Oyi local government area. She had her early education at St. Monica's College, Obunike, and obtained her grade 2 teacher certificate. She got married to her husband in 1957, and in 1961, they joined in holy wedlock. In 1966, she flew with her husband to study nursery education at Oxford University, and on her return in 1972, she saw the need for nursery education in Nigerian schools. She with her husband, established a reigning one at Onitsha by name Irene Menakaya International Nursery and Primary School. It has served as a foundation for breeding brilliant and hardworking future leaders in this country. As we observe and participate in this Their Sixth Legacy lecture, we thank their children, 3 specialist doctors, 2 engineers, 1 lawyer, and 1 professor, whose efforts are to immortalize their parents. In conclusion, we recognize that all great men and women that ever existed and are existing were only able to defy limitations for them to become success stories in their various fields at various times. Thanks, Obuefi CSC Bebuna, writer and publisher. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. Thank you. At this time, to come and give us the final call to action, please help me welcome Professor Adajuni Okika. She will now speak to us on reimagining education in an age of AI. Professor Juni, over to you.
Thank you, everyone. It's been a wonderful moments of learning and information regarding the present decade of action towards sustainable education in terms of approaching quality and inclusive education for lifelong learning. It's very, very pertinent that the AI has come right now, especially to us in in Africa. We are just trying to abide with them right now, but the fact remains that we are still challenged, as most of the speakers mentioned. We are still challenged in various ways. And now time has come for a serious action to take effect in trying to upgrade our rethinking processes, and that is looking down at the communities. I thank Chief Ogbuefi for recalling the efforts of my late parents towards advancement of education, especially in the community and the indigenous children of our ethnic group. Some of those things is what we didn't even know. As she was talking, saying, or as she was speaking, my eyes were just filled with tears, with joy to God for the path they set for us to follow. So, in light of this, Dr. Jide Menakaya had mentioned of what we kicked off in this foundation during the era of COVID-19. Why? Because we looked at the education that time. Children in urban areas were busy attending normal classes. At Irene Menakaya School, we adopted homeschooling because we were in a position to finance homeschooling. But those in the timid rural areas were out of school. That time had some challenges that it gave back to a lot of ills in the minds of the children. Most of the girls took to child pregnancies. Some of them took to early child marriages. Some of the boys dropped out and found school no more relevant, and also took some vices like getting into gangs and getting into unnecessary characters that disqualifies a human integrity. So with that, then we came to think about the need to look into educations in teaching and learning in rural communities. Now, we thought about the Rural Plus, a device we want to see how best it can be developed so that every child will have a school. And I'm glad that one of the speakers mentioned about e-learning system. Every child should be opportuned to go to school. Now, we thought about this in terms of availability, affordability, accessibility. Now, but then challenges are there where we talk about the funding and the implementation strategies, which are still being developed. So these are what we have been doing. Another aspect we are doing is to see how we are advocating for 1 day out of the 365 days as an observation of observing day for education in rural communities. Why? Because we want to utilize it to create opportunities, create awareness, advocate for quality opportunity. We want to utilize that to drive momentum into developing education in communities. Because we know one thing, that education develops a community. If you try to build a standard school in a timid area, the doors of development will open in that community. So we are still on driving force, making stringent efforts to ensure that education in rural communities are given a priority in terms of policy, advocacy, education research, and providing solutions to learning opportunities for children in that area. Why? Because we think that in those areas, there are doctors, there are engineers, there are presidents, there are lecturers, there are prominent people who can come up from rural opportunities. And if we abide by what the United Nations is saying, leave no one behind, and we do nothing for these people in this time, then we are leaving a lot of people behind. And I don't think as a Christian that God will be happy with us. I for one, started my education in the village because I was brought up by my grandparents, when my parents were away. But when my parents returned and took us out of the village, we saw different dimensions of education, and that brought us to what we are today. But what about those who don't have the opportunity like I and my siblings had? So with that said, we want to take up the path of education on AI through this foundation and our partners. And one of the things we need to do is to look at the 5 Ps of sustainable education in terms of education and AI. Now, one of the things we look at the people. Of course, we have mentioned that the people has to be those in the rural communities, the children, the young people, the traditional community, the rural communities, the values, the culture, and everything in the community. We need to see how we can put them into a straight line of both learning and opportunity through vocational education. It will not be the secular classroom education, vocational education, cognitive education, affective education, and psychomotor education. These will gear to developing the total child. And that's the import of my child is my friend, which I was brought up with. Now we are looking at the planet. Of course, your planet we are talking about is the communities, the environment of the rural communities, with the resources. What are there? Some of them have potential resources that can be developed and utilized in order to help the children in the communities to obtain at least quality education. And then we're looking at sustainability, the prosperity. What is it going to bring to the table? It's going to bring development. It's going to bring quality and inclusive education. It's going to bring economic development and well-being. It's also going to create partnership, public-private partnership, into drive force into the communities of learning. It's also going to help the people, the children develop their inherent potentials. And this is very, very vital, because without that, we can't think of having a sustainable future that SDG 4 of the United Nations mentions of learning, quality and inclusive education for lifelong learning. Now, we're also looking at peace. Of course, when we talk about peace, we are talking about transformation, we are talking about development, we are talking about opportunities and well-being that can be sustained. Because when transformation comes, everyone is at peace in that environment. Things flow. There is good health, there is good hospital, there is good schools, there is social facilities, and of course, it advances the values and culture and cultural norms of that community. And of course, we are looking at partnerships. Now, most of these speakers today come here because we are able to enter into 1 or 2 partnerships with them. And that is why they were able to spend their time, they will prepare this presentation and be able to stay here for the past 3 hours in order to be able. So we need to advance this partnership. We need to build a coalition, a network of partners who are driving the AI. And the AI is this an instrument that has to be technological. Of course, we need to begin to educate some of these the local people, the local populace about the technology aspect. They need to have knowledge about computer. Most of the time, they are very good in technology because they are not. If you go to Facebook or social media, it's those in the rural community. 90% of them are in these areas, and therefore we need to encourage them. If we can have the product of Rural Plus, get into softwares that can help them to begin to take up AI education. Through that, they can have their degrees, their certificate courses, and all the rest of them with that. And then we are trying to work with Walmart International Consulting Cabinet, where they have a courses, what is it called, that can help to develop those of them in the business, those in the trading companies or businesses, but who don't have education, will be opportune to use that course, that program, to get their certificates, in terms of even doing their management and administration of financial education in order to advance their businesses. Everybody must not travel outside the country. But right now, because of the globalized world, things can come to you at the look of your own bedroom, depending on your decision and your determination. So this is what of this we need to touch base with in terms of looking for partnerships and the sustainability of that. Now, our 5 pillars of learning, what of them we need to do is a policy, education, and training. We need to start training of teachers on AI and education for them to understand what AI is all about. Because when teachers are able to understand it, they can easily disseminate it to their children in their various classrooms and schools. And with that, there will be very advancement of education. In Irene Menakaya School, we try to encourage the children who are under 10 years to have exchange pen pal education with schools internationally. And that's giving them the in-depth vision of what it is, and they will grow with it. Bearing in mind that whatever we learn at this early stage is what we tend to continue to learn. The only thing that it comes with opportunities and expansion and advancement, but it's the same format of education. So having cross-cultural education, therefore, there was a time we had to give them a virtual UN tour education, and they were excited to learn about United Nations, even in that community in far area of Nigeria, in Anambra State, southeast of Nigeria. So we have to develop that kind of, and then also we are going to launch community training program on AI for schools and teachers, coming with our partners like Sub-Saharan Open University, McBain Arts, who are going to utilize the training of arts to develop the import about education and developing creativity and talent, and so on and so forth. So our agenda is to put down these presentations together and advance so that between now and the 10th anniversary of by JUNI and Irene Menakaya Foundation International, we must have something feasible in order to make impact, make a name for the decade of the foundation. So we are calling on everyone to let's come together, those who are listening to us, those who are speakers, those who are listening on social media, to come together and let us put our ideas in what we call teaming approach, put our ideas together to see how we can help, help government to help us. And that's what we are trying to help government to help us. The AI, the drive we want to say is education by us for us, in help to the government. And that's what we tend to address. The teachers will be involved, the schools are involved, the children are, or no matter the age, we have a lot of toys that talks about AI, innovation, creativity, critical thinking, communication and collaboration. And this is creativity. This is what we tend to start doing any moment from now. And we call on that establishing the public-private partnership of all and sundry. So I want to thank everyone for listening to us and being part of it. And I thank you for making effort in spite of the network challenges to come in to speak wonderfully in legacy of my late parents. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Professor JUNI. At this time, I'll ask His Highness Dr. Osita to give us his closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, Dr. Devon Bannister of SICA International. I want to begin by saying that the day is fast spent, and knowing that we must close, so I won't take your time. The theme for the 2025 International Day of Education we're commemorating today is AI and Education, Preserving Human Agency in a World of Automation. Well, we listened to Her Excellency, Professor Ada Okika, talk about what the heads of the UN said, and then there was a call to the day, and then keynote presentation started with Dr. Oladele Adiola. He gave the overview of artificial intelligence and education challenges and opportunities for education in Africa. And then my very good brother gave a very brilliant presentation, Kofi Konadu. We listened to Ambassador Pamela Odibele talk about artificial intelligence, the challenges and opportunities in rural communities. And then Anton Maruka, the Sigma Software Group person from Valencia, was very, very explicit about spreading great software solutions, including AI. And then we also listened to Vincent J. Vicari. Vincent J. Vicari, he's a solutions-oriented opportunities in artificial intelligence and education for sustainable improvement and development for rural education. I want to thank Kathleen. Kathleen came with a very brilliant offer saying that promoting development and critical AI literacy through involvement of teachers and AI resources are very, very important. Also, my sister, Timitokbe Obe, and then Hajia Memuna Mohammed, theirs were call to action for us to be able to take steps forward. Now, we listen to Dr. Nnamdi Menakaya, My Child is My Pride, in the era of AI, essential human elements of learning. Barrister JUNI and Irene Menakaya Foundation has been leaders in the fight for child education, particularly girl child education. I have worked with them on these fronts for a very long time. Lady Rachel Akosua Lundgren and Dr. Jude Menakaya were talking about transforming education through AI. Particularly, Dr. Jude Menakaya talked about rural, a roadmap for culturally responsive AI tools. And then the one that took everybody by action was when Obuefi Chief, Ibuna talked about the foundation of the foundation itself. He talked about the barrister, JUNI and Irene Menakaya persons and their contributions to education and how the foundation came to being. Well, to close, reimagining education in the age of AI was the forte of Professor Ada Junakika herself. She was near emotional because of the work she has done, spending time trying to keep the parents' legacy. This is the 6th legacy lecture, and we have spent the day commemorating the United Nations International Day of Education. And I want to thank very immensely His Excellency Ambassador Dr. Divan Bannister, the Pro-Chancellor of Sika International University and Seminary, and then my team, Edike Uchechukwu Esther and Oyibororo Oyenepabo of the Software and Open University, who were our rapporteurs for this program. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And please, if you can, if you're still there, show your face on camera so that we can take a group photograph to end this program. Please show your faces so that, come on camera, please, so that we can take the time now to record, put this on record. Everybody, please, put this on record for posterity. This is the 6th lecture and the first time we are putting AI in the forefront. For those of us who are here today, well, thank you so very much. And please ask you to stay with us as we take action from this program. The outcome will be made known to you.
Dr. Nnamdi, can you be on camera?
Please, Dr. Nnamdi, not your photograph. Yes, and then Kathleen Cronin.
Can you come on camera, please?
Please. This is very important. We are recording this for posterity. Next year, we'll all come together the way we have now, and then take our time to recreate history. This is the beginning, AI in rural communities. This is the first in Africa, and we are going to continue on this note. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, and God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ada. Thank you very much for everything. Nice to meet everybody. Looking forward to more future successes.
Yes, Kathleen, I'm going to get in touch with you very soon.
Okay, Doctor, I would be honored. Thank you.
All right. All right. And
Thank
then
you. Bye-bye,
Hajia
everyone. Bye-bye.
Mimonia,
Yes.
Professor Ada
Bye.
says we're going to come to Niger to see you. She said it to me last night.
Yes.
So just, you
You
put
are
it on record.
welcome. You are
Yeah,
very much
thank you.
welcome.
Thank you very much. All right,
Bye-bye.
guys. Thank you. Thank you. Vincent, you are my hero. God bless you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Right. Wonderful. Yes. Okay. Pamela Dibrele, thank you for coming. And Dr. Oladile Adiola, you did so very well. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you immensely. Yes. Obuefi, Ekenenge, Dalorinne. Dalorinne. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, when you're done, you can leave the skin because this will shut itself down. It will shut itself down. It won't wait for you to shut down. Thank you. Okay. Brilliant. Oyibororo, thanks for joining us today from SSOU. God bless you. Dr. Namdi Menakaya, Dalolo. God bless you all. Ezewany, Ekenenge. Thank you.